Good morning everyone. Today's session would be regarding this beautiful digital art. We will be making this art from this picture. Once I'm done, I'll be sharing this Pinterest link with you, or maybe I'll just share a link where you can get this picture from. For starting this, initially you have to select a new sketch and get the pixel size 1980 into 1980 and then click on create. Once you are done with that, you have to add this picture. Let me show you how you can add an image. I've zoomed it out a bit and that's it. I'll repeat it once again. On your top panel you will find this add image button. Click on that and then there's another one, the first one. You have to select that image and then you have to select the image which you wish to draw, and then you have to zoom it out a bit and then click on the done button. Once you are done here, you can get it at the bottommost layer, and right now I don't need that because I've already done that. So I'll start with this layer, and here this is how your final product would look, your final digital art, or maybe something different. We'll start. So here you have to unhide this layer, reduce the opacity around 50. Once we are done with that, get a new layer, get this pen from here. Okay, I hope you can see this thing. It's on the bottom panel. You get a circular structure. Let me show it to you once again. Click on this and then we'll click open this double puck. I generally use this double puck as it's easier, or else from your left panel you can always select this. Go into legacy section and select inking pen. I'll show it to you once again. How can you access your brush? On your leftmost panel, select from all the brushes, go to legacy section and select inking pen. Here the size of inking pen I have kept is 3.2. You can move your brush or maybe your stylus to the right side and the size of your pen increases. Move it to the left side and the size of your pen decreases. I have been keeping it at 3.2. You can make it according to your wishes. Here you can change the color according to your artwork. Currently, because we are doing line art, we will be sticking to black color. Once we are done with the line art, I'll teach you how to do it with different colors. So now we'll start tracing this artwork. Before that, I'll be starting this prediction stroke. So this predictive stroke helps you make straighter lines. Without predictive strokes, sometimes your lines are not that perfect, or maybe there's some sort of, when initially you are starting, you get shaky hands. So predictive stroke helps it out. So now we'll start with a face. Hold on. Hi, welcome back. Because my memory was full, I was having some issues with the liner. Let me just redraw it again. I guess it's still full. Later on I'll remove some sort of data from my application. Follow along those lines. If there's any problem, you can always use an undo button. Currently I'll just have to erase this dot. I'll use another layer that would be right on top of her face layer. You can see I've been using a different layer right on top of her face layer, and here would be a hair layer. Make sure while you are doing this, her hair is connected with each other, or even her skin should be connected with each other. Either you can do this like that, or maybe you can even make a straight line for her bangs. Now we'll start making her dress. I'll start with another new layer. Here I'll be making her top. Make sure that you follow the lines and also make some creases. That gives a volume to your dress. Let me just erase these dots. We'll try to complete it in another hour. If you have any doubts, you can always drop a message or you can drop comment. The application which I am using is Sketchbook. Download it and it's easier to use. Once you start practicing it, it's quite easier. Now we'll go and make another layer right on top of her final dress and exactly below this dress. Here we'll be making a jumpsuit. Follow these lines. Here she also has one pocket. Here create these lines. Make sure that you are doing it very lightly. Don't put pressure on your stylus or pen. Or if you are using your finger, don't put that much pressure. Just do it very lightly. If you add pressure, you will get a thicker line. If you do it lightly, you will get a thinner line. Excuse me for that. For her shoes, we have taken another new layer that is exactly below her dress. We have to make sure that we are always making line arts are on different layers. I won't be making any sort of difficult work over here. It is beginner friendly workshop. You can always follow. Now we are clearly done with the entire liner. You just have to do is hide this image and you have to check whether you have completely done the line art or not. And while you are making your line art, you have to make sure that every line is joined with the another line, so that when you are filling it, it's easier. There would be times where even without joining the lines, you can work on it, but I still prefer that we join the lines. So now we'll be making her face, her eyes, her lips and her nose. Since this is a cartoonish style, we'll be making something similar to this. I hope this is visible to you. Let me teach you how to do that. Throw along her eyes, then fill the pupils. Fill this pupil entirely. For her nose, we'll just be making these cute little lines. For her lips, just drag a line from ear to ear. Make sure you have done it lightly. And then always make a V whenever you are starting a line. Since they are kids, they have this cute little small lips. Make it like this and you are good to go. Once again, all you have to do is hide this layer and see whether it is looking good or not. If you feel that this nose is not looking good, I can give you a few more options. See, you can use this nose, you can use this nose, or maybe you can even use this nose, or maybe like this, and then something like that. You can always use different noses since it's a cartoon character. Let me just erase it. I find double puck quite easier to use. Now we are done with the entire line art. Now we'll start coloring. We follow 3 steps while doing this. First, line art. This is basically what we have done. Second would be base coloring. And third would be rendering. Rendering means we will be shading our entire drawing. Now we'll create another new layer right below the line art layer. Here, make sure that every part of the color, for every part is on different layers. I hope you guys are done till here. I hope you guys are following along and maybe someone is drawing with me. Now get back to the original image, increase the opacity. I'll remove this final artwork. I'll add it later on. Go to this bottom circular section once again, and then here select the color picker. We'll start by filling her dress. I've selected this. Now we'll hide this layer once again, and then we'll start by filling her dress. Here follow along the lines and keep adding this. I'll increase the size of the pen as it's quite small. You can always use a lighter pen size or a smaller pen size for drawing, but for filling colors, let me just stop this predictive stroke. Let me show it to you once again. See, I have already done this. Now all you can do is either make some smaller sections and color it and gradually fill the entire image, or you can use a bucket tool and directly add it like this. You have to double tap so that there is no small sections left out. Once you are done with that, go ahead and okay, before starting that, let me just give you a brief idea about this tolerance level. You have to make sure that the tolerance level is around 234 or 223. Let me show you another example over here. See, here I'll be filling two swatches. I have made two boxes. Here I've kept the tolerance as 109. See, can you see this line? A tiny line separating the line work as well as the color filled. So we don't want these lines when we are doing the final artwork. That's why we take our tolerance level to 234. Here you can see that the lines are very small dotted lines. It's not as distinct as this one, as this. Okay. So here you have to double tap and all those tiny dots are gone. So that's why we have to make sure that your tolerance level is about 230. You have to check it out how it works in your tablet. Now let's get back and start making this. Keep making. Let me just hold on. Welcome back. Here you don't have to fill the color since it's just a small section. Just don't use bucket tool. You can use your finger, or maybe you can even use your pen, and then start filling it. Okay, got this layer locked and I was thinking there's something wrong with my tablet. I went and deleted so many things and here I am. Let me just unlock it. This happens a lot sometimes. When you are not looking at it and then this layer gets locked. You can see it locking the transparency. Once you lock the transparency, you are not able to do any sort of drawing around it. So let me just keep coloring this. I don't know what had gone wrong at that moment. I went ahead and deleted so many of my artworks just so that I could get this recorded. Maybe there is something wrong with my stylus, and I thought my memory is full and I deleted so many things. Let me just get this charged. Okay. It seems like I am done. My battery is 0. Just follow along these lines. Currently I am using my finger. I've kept down my stylus. You can also do that the same thing. It's nothing new to me. When I had first started it, I had been using my mobile and I used to do this and using my finger. I think it was quite easy at that time, and I never felt it was that difficult. It's only when you start using fancy stuff it gets difficult to go back to starting and start doing that thing once again, and then you find it no, stylus is quite easy, but I guess your finger works just fine. But for line art I would say you need some lots of patience and I also bathed into a skin area. Let's just undo it. This is the speciality of digital art. You can always undo it. You don't have to constantly be afraid of wasting your resources or maybe time. You can always undo it, or even if you make some mistakes, you can always use an eraser. It's not like when you start doing traditional, you are afraid of using your resources or maybe wasting your pens or pencils or even the page you have been drawn. Just follow along the lines and complete it. If you have any sort of doubts, you can always drop a message and I'll check it out and I'll inform you. Now once again use a bucket tool and make sure the tolerance is 233. Double tap it and you are done with the basic layer. Now I'll be starting with a shirt layer, and for that I'll be creating another new layer. You'll once again start and open this one, unlock this layer, and then we'll select a lighter shade in this. I have selected this from this area. I've selected this lighter shade of pink from this area, and then we'll once again hide the original layer and then start coloring. Follow along these lines. When you are using your finger, or maybe even when you are using your stylus, you have to be careful that you don't barge into different areas. When you are using a stylus, the pressure created while drawing is always different from what you are doing when you are using a pen, your finger. Okay. Missed it out over here. We'll double tap and we are done. Now as you can see, her belts are also hidden over here because we had her dress on the lower layer. Now see, I'll drag this up and her belts are visible to us. Okay, let me just charge this thing again. Okay, finally it's 80. Now once again we'll unhide this layer, drag a color picker. Let me just zoom it and help you out. We'll be selecting the color from her cheeks. I've selected this color. We'll hide this layer once again and we'll make another layer that is exactly on top of her dress. And here we'll start coloring her face. You can, if you feel that the color is not that great, you can always slightly go and decrease or increase the luminance. Here I am, okay, the visibility is so low. See, let me show it to you. Here I've selected this color for an example, then I'll drag this on the topper side and I'll get a lighter color. Okay, we'll do that once again. Select the color from her cheeks, go towards the top and decrease the color, maybe choose a lighter shade and then start filling the color. Increase the size of your brush. Okay, if you increase the size of your brush and you're still using your finger, then it becomes a bit difficult. So how many of you have started using sketchbook, or how many of you are starting to draw digital art for the first time? What made you start drawing? Oh, was it your hobby, or you were also like me that you wanted to do something with digital art? Drawing was always my hobby, but I wanted to do something with that since I had seen so much. It was quite trending when I had started. Like everyone was into making some side hustle or having some side hustle that would give them some sort of income. I had started as a graphic designer, then I worked with publishers, and then gradually I got back to my drawing again. Now I wish to work as a children's book illustrator, and I'm still working on all sort of faces. this is something that you should also keep practicing. The more people you draw, the more you would be aware like how the dress styling works, or maybe how people's faces are, what sort of unique faces you see. For brown shade, for her hair, I would just drag it downwards and select a maybe lighter brown shade, or maybe you can just go to this section, select a brown shade, and here I've selected the third brown shade, and then we'll color her hair. Let me just reduce it since I'm using my finger. I am doing your bangs like this, but you can always directly make a straight line and then showcase your bangs. I started using my stylus once again. Here we have filled the entire hair, and we are done with the hair section also. Now we'll just make her shoes, which would be in the last layer, exactly above the dress layer. I'll just select from her shirt and maybe drag this above, and we'll get the luminance a bit low, and we'll just give her a bit pinkish shoes. You don't have to always use a bucket tool to fill. Excuse me. I'm being down from a few days. I hope you're not getting disturbed with my voice, since I have some cold, so the voice is a bit cracky. Once you start using bucket tool, you start getting lazy. There were times when I used to fill the entire artwork with just my finger. I used to manually fill the entire artwork. I used to do wedding illustrations with just the help of my finger, and I never used bucket tool. But then I got this tablet and then this fancy stylus, so I got lazy and I started using bucket tool. Let me just take her skin color once again, and I'll go to the skin layer and I'll make her legs. See, here when I was drawing, I went outside. Now what I'll do is I'll drag the eraser layer to the minimum, and here I'll do this, and I'll erase the parts which are overlapping the other sections. It's still the same. Let me reduce the pencils. That's the major difference when using a pen and when using your finger. We are completely done. Now we'll just give some sort of cute colors to her eyes and her lips. See, if you drag this color tool downwards, then you will get a darker shade, and finally you will get a black. And now I'm dragging it towards the top, and now see the shades which we get are getting are lighter and lighter, and finally we get a white shade. Now see, what you have to do is follow along her eyeline. Create a white shade. I've been doing this exactly on top of her skin color, and it's in a new layer. For every part I have used a different layer. And now for her lips, I'll just go to this red and select this pink. Let's see how it looks. I can just increase the brush size. We are already 31 minutes time. Okay, 34. Maybe we should use a lighter shade, but it's okay. Or maybe we'll use a darker shade later on. Now, once again, all I'll do is make another layer that is exactly on top of her eyes. Here, I'll go into the line art section, and here I'll make these dots. It makes it look like she's come alive. Here you can either keep them both at the same size, or you can do a smaller dot over here, and here you can make a bigger dot. This one looks much better. See, and we are done. We have completed the entire process of making line art, and we have also completed the base coloring. Now to start rendering, all you have to do is start locking these layers which you have colored. Once you have locked them, we'll start with a shot. We'll once again go and select this color, and then we'll go to brush section. Go to this basic section. I hope you can find this. This is a felt pen. Exactly besides the felt pen, there's this soft brush. I'll be using this soft brush. I'll reduce the size. I'll decrease the opacity and increase the size a bit. And since I'll be shading, I'll be making a darker shades. So what I'll be doing is I'll drag this downwards, and we'll have a darker shade. Hope this is clear to you. See, I don't want to change the shade, so what I'll do is I'll increase the opacity a bit. Now we have a bit darker shade. Now I'll increase its opacity a bit more. While I'm coloring this, you can see that since I have locked the layer, whatever shading which I have been doing is being done in exactly the same pink shade, her pink shirt, because the layer is already locked. Now I'll use a bit darker shade, and we'll go into these parts where she'll be having some sort of shadows. Here she'll be having some extra shadows over here, her hair shadow. This will be the darkest part. See here, two dresses are, her two hands are joining. Now I'll be using a lighter shade and I'll reduce the opacity and I'll tag it over here. See, and we're done. Now we'll go to her jumpsuit or maybe a dress. We'll drag this and we'll get a darker shade. We'll increase the size and here we'll color. See here, firstly I'll be making sure that this is darker. Whenever you start shading, firstly you should always start with the corners. Your corners are something that are always going to be a bit darker. Now reduce the size and follow along these lines. I'll decrease the opacity. Here I'm taking a lighter shades. I'll increase the opacity. I'll decrease it so that you can do this. You can actually, if you want that it is looking like shabby or bit or something like that, you can always go here in the artist section and use blending tool. See, when I am usually using I keep the flow to 1 or 2 to 3, but right now it's okay. Now I'll just make the darker shades once again. I'll increase the size. See, I'll use darker shades over here. In the background there's some sort of noise, but I guess you can just ignore the noise and keep working on how to practice or something like that. Now we are done with two things. We are done with the shirt and we are done with a jumpsuit or something like that. I don't even know what it's called. You can always let me know what it's called. Just write down and let me know. And here we'll start shading her shoes. I wanted to keep it pink. You can always change and maybe you can do as they had shown. You keep white or maybe purple or something. You can even add some stars or something like that. But I did not wish to do that because I had planned to complete this in an hour and we are already almost 40 minutes done with this lecture or workshop, whatever you call it. Now we'll start with the skin. Select this, increase, darken it a bit here, her fingers, her skin. See, for her nose, let me just show it to you once again. I'll reduce the size a bit and here we'll go and make a circular section or maybe an oval. For the lips we have to go around it. For her eyes, go around her eyes. Since her eyebrows are hidden, we did not do her eyebrows. You won't be needing it. Now we'll use a bit lighter section and we'll make it like this. I'll reduce the opacity and here Once we are done here, we'll once again go. See, this is a cartoon image, so I won't be going into that perfection or that details. We want something that is cartoonish and something that can be done within an hour, so that you won't feel that you are wasting so much hours making just one artwork. No, it's not that difficult. You just have to start working on it. Initially, you might find it quite difficult, or even you might see that why is my cartoon not looking perfect, or you might even say, why is my circle not a circle? Your lines might not even be straight. I had faced everything. My lines were so crooked. I had started with a tiny mushroom. That's all I can say. You have to follow along. Just keep practicing. Check out, if you don't like my work, you can check out different people's work. There's no harm. I had checked out 7 to 8 people when I had started, and then I had followed along, and then I made some artwork. We have shaded her lips. Now we'll start shading her eyes. For that, you have to select a darker color. Okay, I forgot to record some part of it, and I already spoke. So if I have missed out something, you can always DM me, or maybe drop a message, or you can always DM me or find me on Instagram. Yeah, her nose is looking cute. I have already done her eyes. I am not so sure how much I have missed out and whatever I spoke. So I would say some things again, like there are so many different applications out there, but I had stuck to Sketchbook because Sketchbook was something where I had started. Just because there are so many different app softwares and applications, I cannot just give up on Sketchbook. This is where I had started, and I'm so happy. Currently, they have made some amazing. What do I say? See, they had made some amazing. Check this out. There's this clipping mask. There was never a clipping mask available in Sketchbook. I used to be so jealous of people who had this option, but I would still stick to this. I would lock the layer and I would do shading, or I would make different layers and I would keep shading. What do I say? I used to be so jealous of people who had, but then our Sketchbook got updated, and I was so happy. I don't know how many people feel the same sentiments as me, because there are so many people using some different softwares, and then there are so many people that they will just switch to other applications. What do I say? I might not have those other softwares. I won't even name those softwares right now, but still there's something different about Sketchbook for me. People find it boring, or maybe people find it cumbersome. They would say, no, there's better options where they can switch, but I cannot. This is something where I had started, and you can even see that they are updating. It's not like they have actually left it. They have been keeping it updated. That clipping mask was something I would say I was so happy. It came so suddenly that I had no words to express. I was happy. You might even find me like what I'm speaking to be quite boring, and what can I say? I've been doing artwork from 4 years on the Sketchbook, so every update seems just heaven to me. Now, see, making brushes, I had learned everything from you. From making brushes to, I'll show you how I had made some brushes. Okay, here I am using her hair. Okay, let me just decrease the flow. I'm blending. Basically, I'm just doing this blending, just how we had done for the others. Now I'll unlock this layer once again, and I'll See, that's how I'm doing, so that it doesn't look. Sometimes when you do your work, that is confined to those lines, so it looks unrealistic. I know this is not even realistic, this is very far from realistic, but having those hairs a bit fluffy is just a bit more realistic for me. Maybe that's true because my hair never sets down. I have some straight hair, but still I look shabby no matter what I do. And we are done with the entire artwork. Now we'll go ahead and make a background just similar to her. See, she had this pink and maybe a lighter shade. We'll grab this bucket tool, we'll select linear fill and we'll tap here. We'll start from the darker shade and then we'll go downwards. Here, let's select some, maybe we'll just, okay, we'll go to the pink section. Let's select peach. I'll remove this section and see. I'll take it a bit upwards. Maybe. Let's drag it towards the left and right side. I want it to be like this. Okay. She looks pretty. Let's see how it looks in yellow. I guess yellow is my favorite, so I'll stick to yellow. Where's my double puck? Okay. Let me just grab a yellow. Okay. An orange. Okay, here she is looking beautiful and pretty and cute. We are done with the artwork and we have also done with creating a gradient layer. Now I'll show you some of my brushes which I had made. So here's this pearl which is my favorite. The moment I got to know that I can create brushes, wow. So there's so many things that you have to keep learning because you don't understand that there's this option also. When you check out different workshops, that's when you realize, oh, there's this option also. Oh wow, she's wearing a cute little, should I make her wear a ring? No. Since she's a little cutie, we'll just stick to her one earring. That is looking so cute. What do I say? We're done with complete picture and then I'll just add my logo right about this. I'll just make it black. This was also the brush which I had made. It's quite difficult to always write down your name and then I used to always forget it, that I have to write down my name, but then this is something that it's quite easier, and then you just have to reduce the opacity. Even you don't have to fear that people would take it, but my drawing is not that great that people would go and grab it and use it. So let me know how was the session, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great day ahead and you also practice. And please let me know on Colors Entangled. You can always share your artwork and DM or tag me on Instagram and DM me over there with your artworks. And if you have any sort of query, write it down, drop a message, drop a comment. There's no issues. Just keep working on. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.